Welcome, football fans, to the ATMC TV 2015 High School Football Preview Show. I'm Mike DeSpirito alongside my broadcast partner, Chris McKenzie. And Chris, football season's upon us. A couple of weeks we get started at a new jamboree that West Brunswick will be playing in this year.
We will, Mike. It's coming up real quick. August 13th is our first jamboree at, new to me, Purnell Sweat High School jamboree. And then the very next day, August the 14th, which is our times to be announced. We don't know what that is. We'll be at the Legion Stadium, obviously, in our standard jamboree over in Williamson. Right. And then, Mike, it ain't but a week after the jamboree, season starts. Yeah, it's
a tall task for West Brunswick. I mean, play two back-to-back jamborees. Obviously, the BB&T jamboree we've been in for a number of years. That kind of gives you a little bit of look at what your team can do and what you might maybe tweak it a little bit, some adjustments you might need to make. But you're right. Shortly after that, we travel down to Sockasty and play a 4A school, a playoff-rated 4A school every year for Sockasty.
And it is. And, you know, the 4A is nothing new to West Brunswick. Obviously, we were in the Mid-Eastern Conference last year. Right. And a great challenge that comes up to the 3A schools in the Mid-Eastern Conference, which is West Brunswick, Topsail, and our town rival, South Brunswick, which will be welcoming that coach here in a little while. Right. And but the challenge is, can we compete as a smaller school with the 4A schools? And if you go into the Sockasty school, which is a 4A school, it is out of conference. But when you get into the conference play, on our schedule, we're at home for our first conference game against Ashley High School, which we actually won that game last year, and actually should have won against Laney. Yeah, a controversial call at the end of the game. Right, we went for two, lost. You know, lost by thought we got in. Everybody thought we got in on the west side. So, you know, we did fairly well. We could have split, but only won one 4A school conference game last year, so that's something that we can look to improve on. Right. What I have marked in the schedule as being critical is the October 2nd and October 9th, 2 games back-to-back that is our 3A conference opponents, which is at Topsail. Right. And then home against South Brunswick. Back-to-back, those 2 games, Mike, we have to win in order to be eligible for the playoffs. Right. Because being only 3 3A schools in the Mid-Eastern Conference, obviously, if you win those 2 games, no matter what your overall schedule or record is, because we were only 5-7 last year, 3-3 in the conference last year, but we won those 2 critical games last year. So mark it on your schedules, October the 2nd, October the 9th, that's 2 critical games. Yeah, and if you look at we'll talk about the out-of-conference schedule and how tough that is for us with, like you said, Sockasty, South Columbus, North Myrtle Beach, and Whiteville back on the schedule this year after being off 2 years. Yeah. Their program has really gone leaps and bounds. They had a great season last year. I believe they went into the playoffs. I think they went 2 or 3 games deep. Yeah, they went deep in the playoffs. So they're a very talented 2A opponent that used to be on our schedule on a regular basis. So another sort of, we look at South Brunswick as being a cross-town rival, and they are. But Whiteville, right down 130, is another interesting game that we've been put back on the schedule for 2015. Right. So that's a small look at the opening of the show here, talking a little bit about the schedules. When we return, we'll be talking to West Brunswick football coach Kelly Williamson. And we'll also talk to, later on in the segment, South Brunswick football coach Daniel Finn. Welcome back, football fans, to the ATMC 2015 High School Football Preview Show. We're here with head coach, West Brunswick Trojans, Kelly Williamson. Coach, we appreciate your time. Talk a few minutes about football this afternoon. Season's right around the corner. But just tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got to West Brunswick, a little bit of history, your coaching history, if you don't mind.
Okay, well, originally I started out coaching football about 26 years ago, high school football. I've been a head coach 12 years. This will be my 13th season as a head coach. Last year, of course, I was at Latta, been there for 4 years. Right. And before that, I was at Dillon Christian head coach and for 9 years. And before that, I was at Dillon High School.
Okay.
There in
So
Dillon.
you came from South Carolina.
Absolutely. Very close, very close.
Yeah. That's good.
Well, Coach, look, we know just as important as you coming in as a head coach is your staff. Tell us a little bit about your staff you got.
Well, I think one of the interesting dynamics at West Brunswick is we have some really good coaches. We just hired Coach Probst from Ashley. He'll be on the defensive side of the ball with Coach Spivey. Coach Fletcher will be on the defensive side of the ball. And Coach Lancaster and Coach Jones coach the offense with me. Coach Alderson's back.
So a lot of familiar faces.
Oh, absolutely. You know, I've coached with those guys before in 2010 when I was here.
Yep.
And with Coach Fletcher when I was assistant with him. So, I mean, we're excited about the coaches we have. I think we've got a great staff.
Yeah.
You know, bring a lot of experience, and so we've had a great preseason.
I've been fortunate to be in a position where I can come out there and watch y'all some.
Yeah.
And you look like you're an offensive-minded coach. Not saying that you don't know defense, Coach.
Yeah.
But you've been working hard. What I've seen, getting that offense.
Yeah. You know, one of the interesting things as I've looked at film from last year's of West Brunswick's team, and the teams that championship teams I've had in the past, you really, you know, I focus on the offense, but defense wins football games.
Well,
and we have really, you know, I think we got the right coaches in place to play good defense. I think we really got to get after better than we did last year. That's one thing we will change. So, but yes, I have. That is, I love to coach the offense.
Well, you got two good coaches in Jimmy and TJ.
Oh, absolutely. They do a great job. And
then Coach A coming back.
Coach A coming back. He'll be coaching the ends. And
I call him Coach A.
Yeah, I call him Coach A too. So, but we're glad to have him too.
Coach, let me just ask you, as a new head coach coming in, and head coaches probably have different philosophies. You bring a program in, you got your own mindset of offense that you want to run. Do you go ahead and adapt your program to the offense, or do you look at your talent pool to see what you have and then adapt your offense to your talent?
Well, I think one of the things that I like to do is adapt my offense, my talent to the offense, to the kids we have.
Right.
You know, you can't throw the ball in a spread offense if you don't have a quarterback that can throw it.
Right.
And you know, Hunter Ashburn's a great little athlete, but Hunter's not 6'4" either.
Right.
So, but he can really run. We'll do a lot of read stuff with him. So we'll adapt the offense to you know, the kids that we have.
Right.
We found some kids that you know, I think that can really help us. I'm a hard-nosed, we're going to run the football first, and then we're going to do some other things second.
Right.
But, you know, I really want us to focus on our running game. I think we got a chance to be pretty good in that respect if our offensive linemen are, you know, we got some young kids there that's got to grow up quick.
Right. And you've got a good backfield coming back from the previous years. You got two good tailbacks, and then you got Russ Gore as your fullback.
Oh yeah, Russ is a hard-working kid. He's going to be a good player. Malik King's a kid that didn't pan out last year. That's really in the off season shown some great progress. I mean, he's really a good football player. We keep him on track.
Right.
You know, there some good things I think can.
So you've seen some good things coming out of the summer workouts, and
oh, absolutely. I think the spring, you know. Coach Eric Davis is doing the weight room for us, and we've had a tremendous work, you know, plan going on in there, and he's done a great job. The kids have responded, and you know that's really when you win your football games.
Right.
You got to get that off-season workout, and the kids we've had over 65 to 70, you know, every day.
Right.
So it's I think it's made a big difference. You know, we'll see when put the pads on.
Now you got two games back to back. You got two jamborees back to back. That's going to be a tough task for these guys playing two nights in a row.
Well, you know, in the Jamboree, you just play a half,
Right.
and what we'll do is play a lot of younger kids in those games to give them some experience. You know, a lot of people get caught up in scrimmages and Jamborees. You know, my thing is the soccer stick game on, you know, the first game, and get those kids prepared, and we'll have an opportunity to look at some kids, you know, to see who can help us on Friday nights. So look forward to that. Lumberton's where I graduated high school, so we were going to play in the Latta's going to be in that Jamboree. The teams from Dillon and Lakeview are going to be there. So when I took this job, they asked me if we'd come up and participate in that.
I think it'd be great.
Good.
So look forward to that.
A little bit about, and I don't know the numbers, but I know you had a very young team. We had a very young team last year. A lot of sophomores had to go out there and play and start. But they've grown up some, and you got some, you know, they're moving up. Do you have a heavy laden senior, junior team this year? Do you have some leadership, some experienced players that's going to be able to step up and lead this team?
Yeah, well, one of the things, you know, just last evening we had a little senior outing for our seniors. You know, the teams I've had in the past, you gotta have good senior leadership, and that's just the key. And when you have small classes, what I would say a small class is 12 to 13, 14, and that's what we have here. And we need 20 to 25 kids in a class. Usually if you look at your teams that are really good and successful in the playoffs, they got 21 to 25 seniors and 19 to 25 juniors. And that's that's where we got to get to.
And my point taken in that those sophomores that played, that was forced to come up and fill in some shoes. Like, they're more mature juniors than ones that had maybe was not put in that position, that had to play down.
Well, I think one of the things, by looking at the film study from last year, we had a lot of you know, people don't understand. It's hard to take a kid in the 9th and 10th grade unless he's special to play on Friday night against a senior. It's just really a junior. So, but those kids already, we have some great looking juniors. This is a talented junior class. Talented sophomores. We had a lot of good looking freshmen out there. Of course, you played with some freshmen last year. So on Friday night. You know, Big Monty Stanley, Russ Gore, those boys played on Friday night. And they took their lumps. I think they're ready to maybe give some lumps this year, I hope.
Good.
Here's something, Coach, that I believe our audience would like to know, because I've been approached and we wondering about. I got a little thing that I pulled up from last year, and Jimmy Fletcher was talking about this. We talked that this is the 4th year. This is the 4th head coach in the last 4 years, I should say, that we've had. So consistency has not been there in this football program. Jimmy here said that a new coach coming in has his own system and has his own way of doing things, and it takes time for the players, especially the older kids, to adjust. So, but he says also kids are resilient. So, you know, what challenges does that bring to you? How are you approaching that? I mean, do you find that these kids are adjusting well to your system, and does that mean that can you get a winning season going quickly into the season, or do you think you may still be in the adjustment period? I mean, just answer that question for us.
Well, you know, a couple of things there. First of all, kids, I think kids are, you know, they want to be coached. And you said the main word that I think that I'll bring to the table, because I'm going to be consistent. And I've preached to them since I got the job that we're going to do things a certain way. We're going to do it the right way. And if you're going to be committed to West Brunswick football, you got to be committed. And so they have, and you know, I'm probably going to lose a few kids, being honest, because we have to change what we're doing. Because I don't believe you can win and be successful with kids going in several different directions. So in saying that, I think you know, some of the things that I'll do, some team building with my juniors, seniors. I'll separate them spend time with them, freshmen, sophomores in classes, so they get to know Coach, so they understand where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
I'm gonna coach them hard. You've been to practice. I'm gonna coach them hard, but I'm gonna love them hard, and I think that's the dynamic that that's me. That's me every day. I'm not going to change.
Well, we know a unit. It takes a unit to win ball games.
Absolutely.
And
and I'm going to be consistent. And when I took this job, I took it to be here. I want to be here.
Right.
And I want to build it. I played for the state championship six times. I want to. Some more chances at it. And that's my goal.
New challenges.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I know the challenges here. We hear about the split conference we're in.
Right.
And
which brings up another question, about those, the 4A teams in the Mid-Eastern Conference. That brings a big challenge to a smaller school.
Well, I think that the thing about that, the dynamics of that is it's exciting to be in that conference with those teams, because in the past where I've been, I always scheduled teams that were bigger than us and better than us, because it only makes you better to play the best.
Not to leave out Socrates, as Mike approached too. That's a 4A school.
Absolutely.
That's a good.
So, but the mentality we want to create at West Brunswick is that we're going to come play ball and we're going to get after you. People that know me know that I'm that way. Yeah. I mean, I want to. I'm not going up there just to play well.
Right.
I want to, develop the attitude that we're going across the bridge to win.
Right.
And that's if you're not doing it for that.
What are you there for?
Absolutely.
Really. Yeah. Well, Coach, we appreciate you coming in today and talking a little football with us, and we just wish you the best of luck in the Trojans. And we know it's going to be a little challenge being a new head coach.
It is
for kids, but we know that
we're looking forward to it.
You're going to get after it.
We're looking forward to
win some ball games. So
absolutely.
We appreciate you being here.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Coach.
I appreciate it.
Yep. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back, football fans. We are here now with head coach of the South Brunswick, with Daniel Finn. Daniel, we appreciate you coming out this afternoon, talking a little football.
Yeah, absolutely.
Appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Give the viewers just a little background about yourself and where you came from, your coaching background, how you ended up at South Brunswick.
Okay. Well, I ended up coaching when I was in college. I started as a graduate assistant at East Carolina University. Decided I need to go the high school route. I was a little demanding, being in college. I wanted to raise a family and be a little more stable. So I started down in Pitt County at D.H. Conley High School as an assistant. Went over to J.H. Rose as offensive coordinator for 1 year. That was the first year they won the state championship, so that was very exciting for me. Had the opportunity to go back to D.H. Conley the following year as the head football coach, and that started my head football coaching career. Stayed there for 2 years. The position came open at Southeast Raleigh High School, which is where I was from in that area. Had a lot of family, growing up there still, and so decided to apply for that, and I got that job and stayed at Southeast Raleigh for 6 years. Got to the point where I was promoted to be the athletic director and a head football coach. So I did that for 1 season, and that was way too much on me. So decided to get out of football. I had been doing it for quite a while, and gave the AD thing a try, and I did that for 3 years, and kind of got out of football and really, really missed it. I missed the Friday night lights and the closeness that you have with the kids. So decided to get back into it, and the opportunity came open at South Brunswick, so I applied for it and was blessed with the opportunity to come down here.
Well, good. Real quick, Coach, season's just right around the corner. A couple weeks out, you start playing in the Jamboree, and then you get your first game against West Columbus, I think is who you open with. How have the summer workouts gone for you, and what are you seeing with your players as far as coming up with just a few weeks left to go?
Other than being hot.
Yeah, other than being hot, exactly.
That's been tough. The humidity has been really tough on us this year.
Yeah.
But our turnout has been really good. Our numbers are about 75 to 80 kids throughout the summer, which is really good. That's up 10 to 15 kids from last year. They're working really hard, and the good thing is we've been here for a year. The kids know what we expect as coaches and those kind of things. And last year at this time we were trying so hard to get things inputted, kind of get things in our terminology and things like that. So this year we've focus more on just getting better as football players and not so much the X's and O's as much.
Right.
We've worked really hard in the weight room. We spend an hour and a half in there almost every day. And then we went in conditioning. We've done a little bit of football every day, but we spend a big part on just becoming better as far as that goes. But like I said, the turnout's been really good. The kids are excited. The coaches are excited, and we're just ready to get this thing going.
Good. Good.
Yeah, you mentioned numbers. That's quite a bit of numbers there. 75, 80 kids. How many of those are juniors and seniors? Are you heavy laden in that area?
Well, I'll go back to last year. We only had about 12 or 13 seniors last year, and 12 or 13 juniors. So majority of our kids were freshmen and sophomores. So the graduating class is gone. So now my senior class is about 13 or 14 kids. So I'm really, really young, which is a good thing. I feel like we've got a lot more depth this year than last year. But our ninth grade class is about 23 or 24 kids. Our sophomore and junior class is about the same, 22 to 24 kids. So, if we can kind of, hold tight with these seniors and let them be leaders for us, I think we've got a chance in the next couple of years to really
you sort of got your honeymoon over with. So you're a second-year coach.
That's right. That's right.
Tell us, does that give you a little bit of advantage over someone that maybe has just stepped in as a first-year coach this year? You're a first-year coach. How'd that go for you?
It went okay. It takes time because I wasn't familiar with our kids down here, and they weren't familiar with me and the staff.
Exactly.
So it's a long transition time to, again, get terminology, get expectations down, get out of some other habits that, they were in, whether it's good or bad, just kind of getting things like we want them. So I don't know if it's necessarily an advantage. If a coach come into a program that's already established and they're, right where they need to be and they don't skip a beat. So, but, when I got here, we were 0-11 the year before, just trying to get over the sympathy factor that, it's okay to work hard and you're going to have some setbacks, but just keep working and we'll get better. And the kids did that. And
Well, you ended up 2-4 in conference and 4-8 overall.
Yes, sir.
So that's an improvement from 0-11.
It is. And for our kids, that's a great improvement. For me personally, I'm very disappointed because, like we just talked about, we could have won 3 other games last year if we just finished. We were in position with under 4 minutes to go in all 3 of the games, and even against West Brunswick, if we just get a stop, we have a chance, and we can't. And they just methodical, all the way down the field. And those are things that where our kids just got to get a little mentally tougher. And that's one of the things we've worked on a lot this offseason, just working hard and putting ourselves in uncomfortable positions so we can overcome, those kind of feelings and be successful.
Right. Would you like to tell us a little bit about your coaching staff? Because I know they're important to you.
Yeah, they are.
Any new faces?
I do. I hired another linebackers coach. His name is Chris Sotrifer. He was actually a defense coordinator at North Davidson. And North Davidson, for the last few years, I think they're like 40-something and 10. They're really good. So the opportunity came open. Coach Sotrifer applied for the job. We brought him and his wife down for an interview, and they loved the area, they loved the school, and loved the opportunity. So he came down, and I can tell a big difference already in our linebacking core. They're more aggressive, and they're hitting keys and reads already that we'd struggled with a lot last year. Got a new defensive back coach. His name is Ron Clark. He's a very, very aggressive coach, and we need that intensity, for our kids on our defensive side of the ball. Offensively, got a new wide receiver coach, Coach Shelton, Lee Shelton, come in. He's been coaching for a while, but he's been out of it the last few years, so he brings experience to the offensive side. So, I feel good about where we are.
You got new staff?
As a staff,
really?
Yeah. So we're building, we're working.
Coach, let me ask you this: when you come in as a head coach, do you typically you have a mindset what you want to run offensively or defensively? Do you come in and just run that program, or do you assess the talent pool that you have and make the adaptions that way?
I think you have to come in with a mindset of what you would like to do, but you have to be good enough and flexible enough to, change things to your talent. I'm a spread kind of guy, and luckily came in last year, had a good quarterback with some experience. I had, some decent receivers that were, did the things we asked them to do. So we were able to continue those kind of things. And this year's kind of the same thing. Quarterback is new, never played quarterback before. He's probably about 6'2", 210, big kid, exactly what we like at quarterback. Strong arm, can give us some of that quarterback run and throw it in the pocket and stuff. So, but we do have to tweak some things. We want to take things slow to start with him. Try to get him developed before we throw the whole playbook at him. So, but answer your question, yes, you have to be adaptable to the talent level at your school.
Yeah. Good.
Well, and then the other challenge that comes up, and We asked Coach Kelly Williamson earlier. There was West Brunswick, South Brunswick, Topsail Island. Three A teams stuck right in the Mid-Eastern Conference in powerhouse football, like Hoggard, New Hanover, Laney, and of course Ashley struggled some last year. So how do you approach your kids? How do you get them to a point where they know that they can challenge these bigger schools?
That's tough, especially since we hadn't had a lot of success against those bigger schools. The mentality of the kids is, we're going to try, and as soon as something goes bad, they kind of back off, and it showed last year. We played Hoggard and New Hanover, and I think we were up at the end of the first quarter in both of those games, or maybe we were tied with New Hanover. Right. But for the first quarter, we could have played with anybody in the state. Right. And then they get a big play. I know Hoggard came right out and scored, that first possession in the second quarter, and it just kind of goes downhill. Right. So just trying to get them to fight the whole game, it's a big mental struggle for our kids. But, being that we did, compete so hard for that first quarter, and we had some success, and then we showed the film. We look, just a couple things here and there that we hurt ourselves, and we're still in those games. But it's tough. But it raises our level. It actually helps us when we do play West Brunswick and Top, so that we've played those upper big 4A school teams.
Well, Coach, look, we appreciate you coming out this afternoon and talking football with us. We just wish you the best of luck this season.
Thank you. Appreciate you having me down.
Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome back, Trojan fans. And Chris, to wrap this up today, two teams, West Brunswick, South Brunswick, similar circumstances.
Very similar. Obviously, Coach Kelly Williamson coming in as a first-year coach, and we talked a little bit about the challenges with him coming in, new system. And South Brunswick coach, second year, like I said, he's a little bit got that little honeymoon over with, so he may have a little bit of advantage, know his players a little bit better. But like you said, very similar, and actually West Brunswick had a better overall record last year, but both went to the playoffs, both lost in the first round. And it seems like as far as leadership, as far as seniors, about the same amount of seniors on South Brunswick's team as West Brunswick. About the same amount of juniors. So, and Coach mentioned he's going to have sophomore players. If he had to start right now, South Brunswick would have 10 to 12 sophomores playing on the team. So
and
very young team.
Both have not really questions at the quarterback spot, but both have adaptations they got to make at the quarterback spot.
Yeah, well, we talked about for West Brunswick, Hunter Ashburn. He's not 6'2".
Right.
He's not 215. So he's not a big stand-up pocket guy. And so Coach talked about adapting to that. Right. And but he does have good speed, good footwork. Can do some things on the ground. A little bit opposite of that. South Brunswick's got this guy 6'2", but he's new, so he's got to learn the system. But he's 6'2", maybe more of a spread offense type quarterback. So, a little bit of opposites there at quarterback.
Well, and as Coach Williamson said, maybe offensively a little bit different, even though the dynamics are the same player-wise. Coach Williamson said, West Brunswick, we're going to run the ball first and foremost.
Well,
Coach Finn, on the other hand, South Brunswick, he runs a spread.
I think he does.
Typically you throw out of the spread.
You
can run out of the spread.
One sets up the pass through the run, and the other one obviously passes first, set up the run. So those are things to be interested to see that when they're on our schedule October the 9th. So that's be an interesting game. I know last year South. So sort of surprised us at the very beginning. They played some tough games. So, I think both teams are going to have a good chance to proceed the year before.
Well, it sounds like an exciting season right around the corner. As we said, a couple weeks away for the Jamboree, and then you start playing for the regular season. So it's going to be exciting for both of these teams to see what they can put together, and exciting times. Thank you, Trojans fans, for joining us today on the 2015 ATMC TV High School Preview. You can watch every West Brunswick home game on ATMC TV Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday nights at 8:30. Be sure to join us at M.H. Works Stadium when the West Brunswick Trojans host the South Columbus Stallions August 28th at 7:30 p.m.